Let me give you a scenario. You're building a product that handles customer data. You've locked down your cloud systems, written policies, maybe even run a tabletop exercise. You think you're good until you realize 3 different governments want 3 different things from you. The EU wants documentation and impact assessment. The US wants clear breach disclosure and board oversight. China, they want control, including where your data sits and who can see it. This isn't hypothetical. This is what the modern cybersecurity landscape looks like. Not just technical theater, but a regulatory turf war playing across 3 global power centers. And if you work in cyber or GRC, you need to understand how this shapes your work and your career. Let's break it down. The European Union doesn't just regulate Europe, they export compliance to the world. It started with GDPR, which forced companies everywhere to reframe how they handle user data. Now, with new AI and data governance laws, they're doing it again. Here's the EU playbook. Create strong, detailed regulation. Make compliance a condition for market access. Set fines high enough that no companies ignore them. For GRC teams, this means you're not just writing policies for your home country, you're designing frameworks that can withstand European audits, even if your business is based in New York or Singapore. That's why understanding the intent of the European Union regulations matter, not just the checkboxes. The US regulatory landscape is a little bit more messier. There's no single national privacy law, but instead a mix of state laws, federal sector regulations, and now something big: mandatory cybersecurity disclosure for public companies. Here's what's happening in the US. Public companies must disclose material cyber incidents. Boards are expected to show cyber literacy. Investors now care about cyber posture as part of risk. So while EU is pushing for compliance from the outside, the US is doing it from the top down. Board pressure, shareholder risk, and reputational consequences. For a GRC analyst, this shifts the job. You're not just building policies for auditors, you're helping leadership explain cyber risk to the market. And if you can do that clearly, you're incredibly valuable. Now let's talk about China, where regulation isn't about privacy, it's about control. China's data law, like the PIPL and others, aren't just designed to protect users. They're designed to ensure that data stays inside the country under government oversight. If your company operates in China, you might face rules that say you must store data locally. You can't transfer certain data outside the country. You must provide access to the state under certain conditions. That's not just compliance. That is geopolitics. From a GRC point of view, this creates serious architectural questions. Where do you host your data? How do you separate systems? What happens when 2 governments demand 2 opposite things? This is the complexity you step into when your company goes global. So here's where things get real. It's easy to treat compliance like bureaucracy, something legal deals with. But in 2025 and beyond, it's becoming core to the business strategy. Because if you don't plan your regulatory alignment, you might not be able to launch in new regions. You might face sudden bans, product bans, or forced data migration. You might lose trust from regulators, investors, or customers. That is why GRC is moving closer to product teams, security architecture, and executive decision making. You're no longer at the back of the office, you're front of the line. So, if you're in GRC or trying to break in, this is the landscape you walk into. The EU will ask, show me how your systems protect my citizens. The US will ask, can you explain risk posture to your board? China will ask, where's the data and who controls it? This means your skill set needs to include cross-border compliance design, risk storytelling for non-technical audiences, understanding the intersection of law, tech, and business. So the next time someone says compliance is just paperwork, tell them they're looking at the future of global strategy, not forms. If you found this useful, leave a like and share it to a friend. And comment GRC if you want to get started in this lucrative field. Until next time, subscribe and stay tuned for more videos from Better Cyber Career.